world ever.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Ben Peterson, and I am a history professor at Alma College and the historical director of the 3 Nights at the Opera House project. It is my profound honor tonight to welcome you to the Wright Opera House. I will briefly be introducing the show tonight, but first, if you need the restroom, they are available on the first floor. We do ask that you silence your cell phones or other digital devices at this time as well. If you are watching this remotely, I just want you to know that there will be 2 more opportunities to see this live and in person, and those will be tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. and Sunday at 2:30 p.m. So just for a moment, imagine a world without the internet, without television, without the radio, and with limited access to silent film. This was, by and large, the world of Alma in 1900. New entertainment, new ideas, and new people were likely in short supply, even as the city emerged as a regional hub of commerce. Naturally, this created a demand for anything, which would bring outside sights, ideas to the community. This space, the Wright Opera House, met this demand through traveling shows, lectures, and numerous amusements. During the introduction to the first night of the 3 Nights at the Opera project, I discussed how the Opera House provided a space where the college and community could meet together, connect, and enjoy themselves as one. Tonight, I will be moving from the local more to the broader world and discuss the role that the Opera House played in connecting Alma to the broader world. By 1903, the Opera House had become part of a circuit for traveling performers, which included Saginaw, Midland, and Mount Pleasant. The circuit was so successful that the managers of the theaters had established a booking agency in New York City. Traveling through the circuit were numerous companies of performers, ranging from Shakespearean actors to carnivalesque wire walkers and illusionists. Prior to arriving in town, all these traveling companies knew about Alma was its listing in the theatrical guide. One of these guides, the Julius Kahn Theatrical Guide from 1904, described this space as having an approximately 24-foot by 24-foot stage that was raised 3 feet. The theater also had new electrical lighting, which was fairly fancy for the time, and a raised walkway to facilitate rigging for curtain and scene changes. Each company was also required to provide 15 large posters, 50 small posters, and 75 half-sheet posters prior to the performance for publicity. A similar guide in 1914 noted that this space could seat approximately 500 people, which, if you look around, does seem like a little bit of an exaggeration. I suspect that they were trying to attract a bit larger shows and therefore occasionally, pump the numbers a bit. When they arrived in town, these companies would remake the Opera House to meet their needs. One imagines in this space a flurry of activity as performers unpacked sets, acquainted themselves with the stage facilities, and arranged lighting. The company would perform several times in the city with tickets ranging from 25 cents to 75 cents. The frequency of apparently profitable shows suggests that this space was packed with people regularly. As many of these shows came to Alma after they had done performances in New York, Chicago, and Detroit, they provided a way for the people in Central Michigan to participate in the same music, art, entertainment, and other culture that more urbanized areas were involved with. Thus, the city became part of the larger national culture emerging in the first decades of the 20th century. But it wasn't just about entertainment. The Opera House also was a place to spread ideas through lectures, presentations, and spectacles. As part of the Lyceum circuit, the Opera House regularly hosted travelers, comedians, preachers, scientists, and educators of all sorts. Tickets to these events were packaged and sold as a yearly course and were promoted as a form of self-education. Some evidence even exists that Alma College would give credit to students and others who attended the full course. Indeed, these courses were so popular in the city that lotteries were held for assigning the best seats. Many of these events focused on novel sights and experiences and bringing those into the community. In January 1904, for example, an exhibition on the grandeur of the Western United States included a series of stereopticons, which allowed people to visualize distant vistas in stunning 3D. Apparently, some people found this experience a bit disconcerting. A note in the Alma record reassured potential patrons that the stereopticons had been assembled by one of the greatest experts in the country, and that there could not possibly be any danger in viewing them. Another spectacle, called In the Year 2000, was put on by the Wizard of Electricity, Reno B. Wellborn, and promised to provide a glimpse of what scientists are doing in the future. The show consisted of numerous mechanical engines and spark-laden electrical demonstrations based on the work of Nikola Tesla. So you can imagine electricity crackling in this space at the start of the century. While these colorful entertainments made a distinct impact, the core of the Lyceum course consisted of lectures. Many of these focused on patriotic themes, such as a 1905 speech by John Merritt Driver, whose lecture, Young America and His Mission, served as a follow-up to his more simply titled Ultimate America lecture. Others, such as the founder of Temple University, Russell Conwell, who spoke in 1915, were more akin to self-help speakers, or speakers at TED Talks, who sought to inspire people to take grasp of opportunities. Indeed, some of these motivational and educational speakers, such as the dramatist Leland T. Powers, would have been household names throughout the country in the early 20th century. Other speakers sought to expand the listener's understanding beyond the Americas. In 1915, for example, a Chinese diplomat named Ng Kun Chu spoke about the struggles of his government for stability. Similarly, in 1918, a Japanese scholar named Dr. Minakuchi delivered a lecture on the politics of Asia. In a world without the internet, in the world where news could sometimes be more difficult to get a hold of, these lectures opened the city of Alma up to new perspectives and displayed the passion that people had for knowledge and expanding their horizons. Beyond even this, every August, Alma would host a Chautauqua week. Inspired by the famous Chautauqua summer education camps, this event brought musicians, actors, lecturers, and preachers together around the Opera House. Much of the week was devoted to exploring the significant issues of the day. These were actually very weighty events. In 1913, for example, two famous politicians debated whether or not socialism is desirable for the United States. Similarly, the president of the International Rotary Association lectured in 1916 on the forces that make cities and the importance of urban planning. The Chautauquas not only provided something for people to look forward to, but also a unique space where the residents of the city could consider and connect to the most important topics of the day. When I study this time period, and particularly the Opera House, I remain amazed by how much was happening in Alma in the early 20th century, and how all of these events connected this city to the larger world. While the lack of internet, television, or in most cases even radio, would make us feel profoundly isolated today, I think the people of Alma felt profoundly connected to the world through the constant flow of performers and thinkers that moved through the town. Tonight, the students of Alpha Psi Omega will recreate some of these performances that connected the world and our town together. To tell you more about this, it is my pleasure to introduce Danny Barr and Gracie Lloyd.
Hi, I'm Gracie Lloyd, and this is my partner in crime for the evening.
Hi, I'm Danny Barr, and we are members of Alpha Psi Omega, Alma College Theater.
Our chapter of Alpha Psi began, we think, in the late 1980s, but was dormant for several years. In 2014, some students revived the chapter, and we've been active ever since. Each year, we produce a one-act play festival, but this year, in conjunction with the history department, we have adapted our festival for our Alma Opera House. Tonight, we will be presenting scenes from plays which were produced here during its heyday, around the turn of the last century.
The late 18 and early 1900s were exciting years in the Western world. The Industrial Revolution was remaking our society. The working class was coming to the fore as industrialization boosted urban populations. Science and technology were reshaping our culture, from Bell's telephone to the Wright brothers' first airplane.
Railroads made traveling easier, and the American theater transitioned from one that was dominated by resident stock companies supporting touring artists to a professional theater full of combination companies, or companies that traveled with a star and a full company, and on smaller tours, full companies without a big star. The realism movement was finding its way across the country, and most American tours still favored the classics and melodrama.
Italian Eleonora Duse and French star Sarah Bernhardt battled for the title of World's Greatest Actress and led several tours throughout Europe and the United States, where the older Bernhardt held to the grand gestures and dramatic poses used by most actors of the era. Duse moved to a more subtle style. She was ahead of her time in developing the realistic grace that most theatergoers expect today. Neither Bernhardt nor Duse ever visited Alma, and as the town was a smaller stop for touring companies, it is likely that the actors who performed here were mostly second tier, more likely old school imitators of Bernhardt than Duse. With that in mind, our actors tonight will fight against their modern training and attempt to recreate scenes in the grand tradition of late 19th century histrionics.
No theatrical form lent itself to high emotion and dramatic gestures so well as melodrama. Literally meaning music drama, melodrama is a form of spectacular production that includes background music, very villainous villains, and highly heroic heroes. Good triumphs over evil, the damsel is always rescued, and ne'er-do-well is often redeemed. The first Star Wars film is an excellent example of melodrama, or for those of a certain age, may be familiar with Dudley Do-Right. On January 27, 1899, the popular temperance melodrama 10 Nights in a Bar Room was performed at this opera house.
Based on a novel by T.S. Arthur, 10 Nights tells the story of the fictional town of Cedarville, where all was well until local miller, Simon Slade, traded in his grist mill and opened a tavern to reap more profit with less work. Things quickly go downhill. As demon rum works its evil ways, one of the first victims is father and husband Joe Morgan, who finds himself unable to resist alcohol's siren call. One night, Joe's sweet daughter, Mary, follows him to the tavern, begging him to come home. Annoyed that Joe has no money to pay for his drink, Simon Slade hurls a heavy glass tumbler at Joe. The tumbler misses Joe, but hits Mary, causing her grievous injury. A few days later, Mary, on her deathbed, begs her father to end his dissolute ways. Directed by Gracie Lloyd and performed by Cody Deisler, Maris Fett, Abby Whitford, and Elizabeth Pacoda, here is Act 4, Scene 2 from 10 Nights in a Bar Room.
out tonight, Joe. Please don't go. Father, don't leave little Mary and poor Mother alone tonight, will you? You know I can't come after you now.
Well, I won't go out.
Come sit near me, dear Father.
Yes, dear Mary.
I'm so glad you won't go out tonight.
How very hot your hand is. Does your head ache?
A little, but it will soon be better. Dear Father,
Yes, dear Mary.
I wish you would promise me something.
What is it, my child?
That you will never go to Simon Slade's barroom anymore?
Well, I won't go there tonight, my dear, so let your heart be at rest.
Oh, thank you. I'll be well enough to get out in 2 or 3 days. You know the doctor said I must keep very still.
Yes, my dear. That is to avoid your having a fever. Husband, do you feel better for the promise you have given to our darling child?
Yes, dear Fanny. But my constitution is broken, as well as my heart. I feel now, as I stand near that suffering child, each moment as though my reason were leaving me. It has been 5 hours since I have tasted liquor, and I have been the slave so long of unnatural stimulants that I feel all vitality is lost without.
Here, drink this. It is coffee. I cannot dare give you rum, though you should die for the want of it.
Thank you, dear one. Oh, what a wretched slave have I become. Fanny, I would not blame you were you to leave me to die alone.
Leave you? No. Though you have banished relatives and friends from our door, though you are marked for the good to grieve at and for the vain to scoff at, still I will never desert you. The name of husband is not lost, though it be coupled with that of
Drunkard, yes. End of the sentence. 'Tis true.
Oh, think how I have suffered, to see you day by day sink from your once exalted station, your temper broken by that infatuation for which my heart refuses to think of, and my lips refuse to name. Try and compose your feelings, Joe. Come in.
Fanny, how are you? Oh, and how is dear little Mary?
She is not so well, I fear, tonight.
Indeed. I am sorry. What a dreadful thing it was. This whole thing's got me so troubled.
It came near killing her.
The very thought of it makes me shudder. Mother, I see him. There he is now.
Her mind at times wanders. What is it, my child?
Has the doctor seen her today?
No, he is not.
I will go for him. And if you need me, pray, send for me. I will do anything in my power to assist you. Father, you promised me. You promised. Oh, don't go. Don't go. Well, I'll go after him. I'll try to walk there. I can sit and rest by the way. Oh, how tired I am. Oh, don't go. Father! Father!
Oh, here I am, Mary. I'm not the one who left you.
Oh, I remember you now. It is my father. Stoop down to me. I want to whisper something to you, not to Mother. She can't know. Oh, how it will hurt her.
Well, what is it, my dear child?
I'm not going to get well. I'm going to die.
What does she say, husband?
Hush, Father. Don't tell her. I only told you. There, Mother, you go. You've had trouble enough. I only told him because he promised to not go to the tavern anymore until they got well. But I'm not going to get well. Oh, Mr. Slade threw it so hard. But it didn't strike Father, and I'm so glad. It would have hurt him so bad. But he'll never go there anymore, and they'll be so well. Won't it, Mother?
Do you hear what she says, Joe?
Yes. Her mind wanders, but I fear she may have spoken the truth.
If she were to die, Joe...
Don't speak so, Fanny. She's not going to die. She's only a little lightheaded.
Yes. Why is she lightheaded? It was the cruel blow that caused this delirium. I'm afraid, husband, that the worst is before us. I have borne and suffered much, and I pray to heaven to get me through this trial also. She is better fitted for heaven than for earth, more like an angel than a child. Joe, if Mary should die, you cannot forget the cruel hand that struck this blow.
Forget it? Never. And if I ever forgive Simon Slade...
You will not forget her cause of death, or the promise given to our dying child.
No! Wife, my brain is on fire. Hideous visions dance before my eyes. Look, see, what's there? There in the corner!
Oh, heavens! 'Tis another symptom of this mania from which he has twice escaped. There's nothing there, Joe!
There is, I see as well as you. And look now, there's a snake twining himself around my arms. Oh, get it off, get it off!
It's only fancy, Joe. Here, I'll get you a cup of strong tea. Try to lay down and get some rest. You're only a little nervous.
No.
Mary's illness has disturbed you. I'll return in a minute.
Look for yourself. Don't go, don't go. Oh, you've come for me, have you? Well, I'm ready. Quick, quick! How bright they are. Their eyes are glaring at me. And now they are leaping, dancing, shouting with joy to think the drunkard's hour has come. Ah, keep them off, keep them off! Oh, horror, horror!
Oh, Father, is it you? I'm so glad you're here.
Not here? Joe? Husband, where are you?
He's here, dear Mother.
Keep them off, keep them off! You won't let them hurt me, will you, dear? Oh, there they are, creeping along the floor! Oh, Mary, you must get out of bed, quick! There they are, right over your head!
Nothing can hurt you here, dear Father.
Yes, yes, that's true. Pray for me, my child. Nothing can hurt me here. But this is your room. Yes, this is my Mary's room, and she is an angel. There, and you wouldn't dare come in here. Keep off, keep off.
Mary's pleas are successful. Joe gives up the drink and prospers, as do all the good people in the town, while the evildoers continue their debauched behavior and pay the price in ruined lives and careers. While melodrama was the most prevalent theater of the day, playing to working-class folks who wanted escape and adventure for a few hours, Shakespeare's highbrow plays remained popular, especially among the college crowd. The first performance of Shakespeare that we know of at the Opera House was Othello and Romeo and Juliet on October 29, 1897.
We don't know who performed, perhaps a touring company, or perhaps Alma College students. As both shows are quite long, it is likely that, rather than full productions, the group simply presented scenes. To commemorate that first Shakespeare performance, we turn to his best-known romance, Romeo and Juliet, and the famous balcony scene. Although we did not have access to the balcony tonight, as theater students usually do, we improvised. And after meeting Juliet, the daughter of his family's sworn enemies and falling instantly in love, Romeo steals into the Capulet garden, hoping to catch a glimpse of his love. Directed by Danny Barr, and starring Warren Dempsey as Juliet, Tyler Radze as Romeo, and Maris Fett as Juliet's nurse, here is Act 2, Scene 2 of Romeo and Juliet.
What soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief, that thou, her maid, art far more fair than she. Be not her maid, since she is envious. Her vestal livery is but sick and green, none but fools do wear it. Cast it off. It is my lady, oh, it is my love, oh, that she knew she were. She speaks, yet she says nothing. What of that? Her eye discourses. I will answer it. I am too bold. 'Tis not to me she speaks. Two of the fairest stars in all the heavens, having some business, do entreat her eyes to twinkle in their spheres till they return. What if her eyes were there, they in her head? The brightness of her cheek would shade those stars as daylight doth a lamp. Her eyes in heaven would through the airy region stream so bright that birds would sing and think it were not light. See how she leans her cheek upon the hand, oh, that I would love upon the hand, that I might touch that cheek.
I need.
She speaks. Oh, speak again, bright angel, for thou art as glorious to this night, being over my head, as is a winged messenger of heaven, unto the white upturned wondering eyes of mortals that fall back to gaze on him, when he bestrides the lazy pacing clouds and sails upon the bosom of the air.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? Divide thy father and refuse thy name, or if thou wilt not, be but sworn by my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet.
Shall I hear more? shall I speak at this?
'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What's Montague? It is nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, if he were not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection which he owes without that title. Romeo, doff thy name, which is of no part of thee, and take all myself.
I take thee at thy name. Call me but love, and I'll be new baptized. Henceforth I never will be Romeo.
What man art thou thus bescreened in the night, so stumblest upon my counsel?
My name. I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name here saying is hateful to myself, because it is an enemy to thee. Had I written, I would tear the word.
My ears have not yet drunk 100 words of thy tongue's utterance, yet I know the sound. Art thou not Romeo, and Montague?
Either, fair saint, if either thee dislike.
How camest thou hither? Tell me, and wherefore? The orchard walls are high and hard to climb, and the place of death, considering who thou art, if any of my kinsmen find thee here.
With love's light wings that overperch these walls. For stony limits cannot hold love out, and what love can do that dares love attempt. Therefore thy kinsmen are no let to me.
If they do see thee, they will murder thee.
Alack, there lies more peril in thine eyes than 20 of their swords. Look thou but sweet, and I am proof against their enmity.
I would not for the world if they saw thee here.
I have night's cloak to hide me from their sight. And but thou love me, let them find me here. My life were better ended by their hate, than death prone, wanting of thy love.
By whose direction hast thou found us out this place?
By love, who first did prompt me to inquire. He lent me counsel, and I lent him eyes. I'm no pilot, yet were thou as far as that vast shore, washed with the farthest sea, I would adventure for such merchandise.
Thou know'st the mask of night is on my face, else would a maiden blush bepaint my cheek for that which thou hast heard me speak today. Fain would I dwell on form, fain deny what I have spoke, but farewell compliment. Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say aye, and I will take thee word, but if thou swearst, thou may provest false. And lovers' perjuries, then say Jove laughs. Gentle Romeo, if thou dost love, pronounce it faithfully. Or if thou thinks I am too quickly won, I'll frown and be reverse, and say thee nay. So thou would woo, else not for the world. Truth, fair Montague, I am too fond, and therefore thou mayst think my behavior light, but trust me, gentlemen, and I'll prove more true than those who have more honey to be strange. I should have been more strange, I must confess, but that which thou rehearsed ere I was ware was true love's passions. Therefore pardon me, and do not keep the shielding light love which the dark night hath so discovered.
Lady, by yonder blessed moon I swear, that tips with silver all these fruit tree tops.
Swear not by the moon, the inconstant moon which is monthly changing in her circled orb, lest thy love prove likewise variable.
What shall I swear by?
Do not swear at all, or if thou must, swear by thy gracious self, which is the god of my idolatry, and I'll believe thee.
With my heart's dear love.
Do not swear. Although I joy in thee, I have no joy in this contract tonight. It is too rash, too unadvised, too sudden, too like the lightning which doth cease ere one can say it lightens. Sweet good night. This bud of love by summer's ripening breath may prove a beauteous flower when next we meet. Good night, good night. May sweet repose and rest come to fill thy heart as thou within my breast.
Or wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied?
What satisfaction can thou have tonight?
The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine.
I gave thee mine, for thou didst request it, and yet I put it forward to give again.
Or dost thou withdraw? For what purpose, love?
But to be frank, and give it thee again. And yet I wish but for the thing I have. My bounty is as boundless as the sea, and my love is deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite.
Madam!
I hear noise within. Good dear love adieu. Coming anon. Sweet Montague, be true. Stay but a little, entitled to again.
Oh, blessed, blessed night. I'm afeared being in night, this is but a dream. too flattering sweet to be substantial.
3 words, dear Romeo, and good night indeed. If thy bent of love be honorable, thy purposed marriage, send me word tomorrow by one that I'll procure to come to thee, where and when thou wilt perform the rite, and to all my fortunes at thy foot I'll lay, and follow thee, my lord, throughout the land.
Madam!
Coming anon. But if thou intentions be not honorable, I do beseech thee.
Madam!
By and by I come. Cease thy suit and leave me to my grief. Tomorrow I will send.
So pride my soul.
1,000 times good night.
1,000 times the worse to want thy light. Love goes toward love as schoolboys from their books, but love from love toward school with heavy looks.
Hist! Romeo! Hist! For a falconer's voice to lure tassel gentle back again. Banish is hoarse and may not speak aloud, else would I tear the cave where echo lies, and make airy tongue more hoarse than mine, with repetition of my Romeo's name.
It is my soul that calls upon my name. How silver sweet sound lover's tongue by night, like softest music to attending ears.
Romeo,
My dear,
by what time tomorrow shall I send for thee?
at the hour of 9.
I will not fail thee. 'Tis 20 years till then. I have forgotten why I did call thee back.
Let me stand here till thou remember.
Oh, I shall forget, so that I may stand here remembering how I loved thy company.
And I'll still stay, to have thee still forget, forgetting any other home but this.
'Tis almost morning. I would have thee gone, yet no further than a wanton's bird lets it hop a little from her hand, and like a poor prisoner in his twisted gyves, and the silk thread that plucks it back again, so loving jealous of his liberty.
I would I were thy bird.
Oh, sweet, so would I, and yet I would kill thee with much cherishing. Good night, good night. Pardon me such sweet sorrow, that I shall say good night till it be morrow.
Sleep dwell upon thine eyes and peace in thy breast. Would I were sleep in peace so sweet to rest. Hence will I to my ghostly father's cell his help to crave, my dear hap to tell.
In A Midsummer Night's Dream, Lysander says, "The course of this true love never did run smooth." And as most of you know, Romeo and Juliet are no exception. The play ends with the pair dead, after the escape plan falls apart and the Duke admonishing their families to put aside their differences. The first confirmed Shakespeare performance by Alma College students came from the college's Green Room Club, with Much Ado About Nothing, on December 12, 1907.
Much Ado is the story of Beatrice and Benedict, a clever pair who loudly, wittily, and often declare their disdain for each other. When Benedict and his fellow soldiers return from war, Leonardo, the governor of Messina, and Beatrice's uncle invites them to an extended visit at his country estate. Claudio, Benedict's best friend and fellow soldier, sees Leonardo's beautiful daughter, Hero, and it is love at first sight. Within a day, the pair are betrothed, and Benedict, an avowed bachelor, is frustrated to lose his best friend to love. In our next performance, from Act 2, Scene 3, directed by Morgan Schweitzer, we find David Troyer as Benedict, pondering the pointlessness of love.
I do much wonder that one man, seeing how much another man is a fool when he dedicates his behaviors to love, will, after he hath laughed at such shallow follies in others, become the argument of his own scorn by falling in love. Such a man is Claudio. I have known when there was no music with him but the drum and the pipe. Now he would rather hear the tabor and the fife. I have known when he would have walked 10 miles afoot to see a good armor. Now he lie 10 nights awake, carving the fashion of a new doublet. He was wont to speak plain and to the purpose, like an honest man and a soldier. Now is he turned to orthography. His words are a very fantastical banquet. Just so many May I be converted to see with these eyes? I cannot tell. I think not. One woman is fair, yet I am well. Another wise, yet I am well. Another virtuous, yet I am well. But until all graces be in one woman will not come in my grace. Rich she shall be, that's for certain. Wise, or I'll none. Virtuous, or I'll never cheapen her. Fair, or I'll never look upon her. Mild, or come not near me. Virtuous and noble, or not I for an angel. Of good discourse, an excellent musician, and her hair shall be what color it please God.
To fill the time during the week between Claudio's proposal and the wedding, Benedict's friends conspired to bring him and Beatrice together through an intricate scheme that leads each to believe the other is secretly carrying a torch for them.
The scheme works, and the pair hesitantly change their positions on romance. But all is not well, you see. Before they can declare their love, evil Don John's plot to ruin Hero and embarrass Claudio comes to fruition. Through trickery and a bit of visual hocus-pocus, he convinces Claudio that Hero has been unfaithful. At the wedding, Claudio declares his intention by saying, not to knit his soul to an approved wanton. In shock, Hero faints, and Claudio leaves her unconscious in the care of her faithful friends, who plan to prove her innocence by pretending that she has died of sorrow. In a quiet moment right after the uproar, Benedict declares his love for Beatrice, who demands a startling amount of proof. From Act 4, Scene 1, under the direction of Gracie Tomlinson, here are Ella Bright and Tyler Radzi as Beatrice and Benedict.
Lady Beatrice, have you wept all this while?
Yea, and I will weep a while longer.
I will not desire that.
You have no reason, I do it freely.
Surely I do believe your fair cousin is wrong.
Ah, how much might the man deserve of me that would right her?
Is there any way to show such friendship?
Very even way, but no such friend.
May a man do it?
It is a man's office, but not yours.
I do love nothing in the world so as well as you. Is not that strange?
As strange as the thing I know not. It were as possible for me to say I love nothing so well as you. But believe me not. And yet I lie not. I confess nothing. Nor I deny nothing. I am sorry for my cousin.
By my sword, Beatrice, thou lovest me.
Do not swear and eat it.
I swear by it that you love me, and I will make a plea that says I love not you.
Do not eat your word.
With no sauce that can be devised to it, I protest I love thee.
Why then God forgive me.
What offends me, Beatrice?
You have stayed me in a happy hour. I was about to protest I loved you.
Do it with all thy heart.
I love you with so much of my heart that none is left to protest.
Come bid me do anything for thee.
Kill Claudio.
Ha! Not for the wide world.
You kill me to deny it. Farewell.
Tarry, sweet Beatrice.
I am gone though I am here. There is no love in you. Nay, I pray you let me go.
Beatrice.
In faith I will go.
We'll be friends first.
You dare easier be friends with me than fight with mine enemy.
Is Claudio thine enemy?
Is he not approved in the height a villain that hath slandered, scorned, dishonored my kinswoman? Oh, that I were a man, what bear her in hand until they come to take hands, and then with public accusation, uncovered slander, unmitigated rancor. Oh God, that I were a man, I would eat his heart in the marketplace.
Hear me, Beatrice.
Talk with a man out of a window, a proper saying.
Nay, but Beatrice.
Sweet hero. She is wronged, she is slandered, she is undone.
Beatrice.
Princes and counties. Surely a princely testimony, a goodly count, Count Confect, sweet gallant, surely. Oh, that I were a man for his sake, or that I had any friend who would be a man for my sake. But manhood is melted into courtesies, valor into compliment, and men are turned only into tongue, trim ones too. He's now as valiant as Hercules that only tells a lie and swears it. I cannot be a man with wishing. Therefore I will die a woman with grieving.
Tarry, good Beatrice. By this hand I love thee.
Use it for my love some other way than swearing by it.
Think you in your soul that Count Claudio hath wronged hero?
Yea, as sure as I have thought or a soul.
Enough. I am engaged. I will challenge him. I will kiss your hand. And so I leave you. By this hand Claudio shall render me a dear account. As you hear of me, so think of me. Go comfort your cousin. I must say she is dead. And so farewell.
Fortunately, after much clarification and many apologies, all is resolved. Don John is imprisoned, Claudio is chastised for his lack of faith, and the two couples find their way back to each other. In addition to the technological and social development at the turn of the last century, American drama was maturing. Melodrama remained popular, but the move toward a realistic American theater was emerging. Considered by some at the time of its first production to be the greatest American play ever written, William Vaughn Moody's The Great Divide failed to hold its place in the American canon. Today we remember Eugene O'Neill, Susan Glaspell, Arthur Miller, and others who moved the American theater away from melodrama and made realism the dominant form for most of the 20th century. That Moody's most famous prose play failed to stand the test of time does not lessen its importance as a transitional work that one modern reviewer, Eric Hodgkinson, called Moody's groundbreaking attempt at psychologically nuanced melodrama. The play anticipated the growth of American realism during a 2011 revival of The Great Divide. Alex Rowe, artistic director of the Metropolitan Playhouse, wrote.
Originally entitled The Sabine Woman, the play asks for a nuanced look at its premise. For all that the Sabines were abducted from their people by Romulus and his companions, they became the co-founders of a new and all-powerful civilization. In renaming the play The Great Divide for its 1912 revival, Moody emphasized the deep and perhaps continentally enshrined divisions in American culture that the couple must overcome. Still, The Great Divide remains about the hope of creating a new relationship from such an inauspicious beginning. Ruth and Ghent's journey is across the gap between Eastern and Western sensibilities, between male and female inequalities, between life ruled by convention and life embracing serendipity, between salvation through penance and salvation by revelation, and finally, between the labors of duty and labors of love. Figured an unlikely couple, the journey is not the romantic comedy's jaunt to the cute life deferred. It is a journey to a new vision of a moral life, neither Eastern nor Western, but American and hopeful.
The Great Divide played here on October 2nd, 1912, under the auspices of the C.S. Primrose Company. Tonight we will see 3 scenes, one from each act, as we follow the relationship between Ruth Jordan and Stephen Ghent. Ruth is a refined young East Coast lady who, with her brother Philip and his wife Polly, have followed their dreams of fortune out west. They are building a ranch and cactus fiber farm. Ruth has found joy on the wild Arizona desert land, and all is looking bright.
One night, when Ruth is left alone, 3 frontier toughs appear. To save herself from a worse fate, she offers a deal to one of the men, Stephen Ghent. If he will protect her from the others, she will marry him. Ghent, sensing a chance at redemption, accepts her offer. He dispatches the other 2, one in a gunfight, and the other with the bribe of a necklace made from gold nuggets. He is left alone with Ruth, and they reach an uneasy accord. Performed by Tyler Lloyd, Annabelle Avolio, and directed by Elizabeth Pacoda, Here is the final portion of Act 1 of The Great Divide.
Is he dead yet?
No, they'll stay in the coop for a while.
Don't.
Is this on the square?
I gave you my promise.
Give me a drink of water. Where are your folks?
My brother's gone down to the railroad.
You and him ranching out here by yourselves?
Yes.
Write him a note. Fix it up any way you like.
Tell me what you're going to do with me first.
You got a horse to ride?
Yes.
We can reach San Jacinto before sunup. From there, we're on to Corderias. I've got a claim tucked away in those mountains that'll buy you the city of Frisco someday if you pay any mind to it. Buy your shiver. Read what you've written. Why don't you shoot? Promise looks not square. There's nothing square about this deal. You ought to shoot me like a rattlesnake.
I know that.
Why don't you?
I don't know.
I guess you've got nerve enough whether you know it or otherwise. Answer me. Why not?
I don't know. You laid there for me and you have no right to die.
How so?
To pay for your life which you spoiled.
You think it's spoiled?
Yes.
And what of your life?
I tried to do it.
To do what?
To take my life. I ought to die. I have a right to die, but I cannot. I cannot. I love my life. I must live in torment and darkness. I will have it. Take it. Don't let me see it. If you want me on these terms, then take me and may God forgive you for it. But if there is a soul to be judged, don't let me do myself violence. Oh God, have pity on me.
I've lived pretty hard and careless, and lately I've been going downhill pretty fast. But I ain't got so low to where I can't tell one woman from another. If that was all of it, I'd be miles away from here by now, racing for liquor to take the taste of shame out of my mouth. But that ain't all of it. I seen what I've been looking the world over for, and I never knew it. Say your promise holds, and I'll go away now.
Oh, yes, yes. You will be merciful. You won't hold me to my cruel oath.
And when I come back? And when I come back?
You never could come back.
No, I guess I never could.
You will go?
Is that what you want?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes.
Is that my last word?
Yes. Oh, why did you come here tonight?
I come because I was blind, drunk, and sun crazy and looking for damnation in the earth's way. That's why I come. That's not why I'm staying. I'm talking to you in my right mind now. I need you to see this the way it is.
Oh, I want you to see this the way it is. You did you and I a hideous wrong by coming here tonight. Don't do us a hideous wrong still by staying. I was in panic, fear. I snatched the first chance I could. There could be nothing between us beginning how we have begun. Don't you see? There could be nothing but hatred and misery and horror.
We'll see about that. Are you ready to start?
gold claim that has recently made him rich. Ruth, however, is unhappy and unable to forget how she came to be Gent's wife. She has been making rugs and baskets and selling them at the nearby trading post in hopes of earning enough to buy her freedom. One day, while selling the baskets, she is spotted by Philip and his wife Polly, who find their way to the claim. Putting on a brave face, she tells them that all is well and that she is happily married. They leave, but the pretense soon falls apart. Ruth tells Gent her true feelings. Directed by Heather Cates and performed by Olivia Clark as Ruth, Cody Deisler as Gent, and Tyler Hoyt as Philip, we present the closing moments of Act 2.
You must go in and lie down. You're worn out.
No, there is something I must tell you first.
It's about this work you've been doing.
You know of that?
Your brother told me. I should have found out about it tomorrow anyhow. Have you wanted money?
Yes.
I thought you had enough. I often begged you to take more.
I haven't spent what you gave me. It is in there.
You haven't spent any of it?
A little, nothing for myself.
But there's been no need to save, not after the first month or two. You surely knew that.
Yes, I knew it. It was not economy.
You haven't been willing to take money from me?
No. I know it was small of me, but I couldn't help it. I have paid for everything. I've kept account of it. Oh, to the last dreadful penny. These clothes are the ones I wore from my brother's house that night. This shelter, you know I helped raise it with my own hands. And some things I helped pay for in secret from the little hoard I brought away with me. You were careless. Did not notice.
I must try to grasp this. Why did you stand up so plucky, so splendid just now? Put a good face on everything about your life? Call me by my first name and all that? Before your own people?
We are man and wife. Besides that, my own people are strangers.
You can say that? You can still say that?
Can't you?
Well, I don't know. I can't say or think anything after what you just told me.
You can't say it, and it isn't true. It is we who are strangers. Worse. 1,000 times worse.
Let's not dash ourselves to hell in one crazy minute. Ruth, you remember our journey here? I thought it seemed to me that you'd begun to care for me.
That night, we rode away from the justice's office in San Jacinto, and the sky began to brighten over the desert. The ice that had gathered here began to melt in spite of me. As the next night and the next day passed, and the next, and still you spared me and treated me with beautiful rough chivalry. When we rode up over the arroyos and down over the mesas into the magical sunlight and the majestic silence, it seemed as if you were leading me through a world of little codes and customs into a great new world. So it was for those first few days. Then I woke and saw you standing in my tent door in the starlight. I knew before you spoke that we were lost. You hadn't had the strength to save us.
Surely it hadn't all been hateful to you. There have been times since that. The afternoon we climbed up here, the day we made the table, the day we planted the vines.
Yes, beautiful days. Oh, it was not my fault. I have struggled against it. You don't know how I have struggled.
Against what? Struggle against what?
Against the hateful image you have raised up beside your own image.
What do you mean?
I mean that sometimes, often, when you stand there before my eyes, you fade away, and in your place I see the other one.
Speak plainly, for God's sake. I don't understand this talk.
There he stands behind you now. The human beast that goes to its horrible pleasure is not even a wild animal will go. In pack. I have tried, and you don't know how I have tried to save myself from these thoughts. When we were poor and struggling, I thought I could do it. Then that hole down there began belching its stream of gold. You began to load me with gifts to force easy ways upon me.
What else did I care to make money for, Ruth?
Every time you give me anything or talk about the mine and what it is going to do, there rings in my ear that dreadful sneer. A dirt-eating scoundrel would pay more than that for his woman. I held myself so dear, and you bought me for a handful of gold like a woman of the street. You drove me before you like an animal from the market. I have got back the chain again.
Chain? What chain?
The one you bought me with.
What the devil? Has that fellow been around here?
It would have had no meaning for me than that from his own hand.
So that's what you've been doing with all this basket weaving and rug making tomfoolery? How long has this been going on?
How long? How long can one live without breathing? 2 minutes? A few lifetimes? How long?
It's about a month after we came here, you began to potter with this work.
Since then, this has been around my neck, around my limbs, a chain of eating fire. Link by link, I have unwound it. I have paid the price. Take it and let me go free. Take it. Take it. I beseech you.
Oh, you're killing yourself. You can't go on this way. Let's go rest. We'll talk of this tomorrow.
Rest tomorrow. Oh, how little you have understood of all I have said. I know it is only a symbol, a make-believe. I know I am childish to ask it. Still, take it and tell me I am free.
It is as you say. Your cross is risen. This is not enough. You're mine, do you hear? Now and forever.
Wait! There is another thing. It is not only for my sake I ask you to take this off me, nor only for yours. There is another life to think of.
Ruth, is it true? Oh, thank God.
Now that you take this off me,
No. Now less than ever. For now, more than ever, you're mine.
but how yours? Oh, remember, have pity. How yours?
No matter how. Bought if you like, but mine. Mine by blind chance in the hell of a man's veins if you like. Mine by almighty nature, whether you like it or not.
Nature? Almighty nature. Not yours. By everything my people have held sacred. Not yours. Not yours.
Came back to pick up my sister for the night. I don't know by what evil spell you cursed her, but I know from her own lips that it's broken. Come, I have horses below.
No!
Yes.
Let her say.
Take me with you. Take me home.
In our final scene of the evening, we travel to Milford, Massachusetts. Ruth, Philip, and Polly have returned to the family home after selling the ranch at a loss. The family is celebrating that a benevolent uncle who lives abroad has gifted them with enough money to maintain their upper-class Eastern lifestyle, despite losing a fortune on the ranch in the dreadful West. As Ruth's mother calls it, Ruth has delivered a son, but she is in a dangerous state of depression. She manages her monthly duties of feeding and bathing, but is unable to bond with the baby. Trying to bring Ruth out of her despondency, Polly has sent for Ghent. She and Mrs. Jordan have been meeting with him secretly and feel that it is now to bring him and Ruth together. In the final scene, directed by Wiley DeLisa, Ruth, played by Morgan Schweitzer, and Ghent, played by Tyler Hoyt, find their way to an honest relationship based on redemption, mutual respect, and an understanding that their future is on the other side of the Great Divide.
Ruth, it's a queer thing for me to say, but it seems to me you've never understood the truth of us.
What is the truth between us?
The truth is, well, there's no use going into that. I've got here the chain that one way or another has come to have a meaning for us. For you it's a bitter meaning, but nonetheless I want you to have it. Show it someday to the boy and tell him about me.
What is the truth between us?
I guess it was only of myself I was thinking.
What is it about yourself?
I drifted into one of your meeting houses last Sunday, not knowing where else to go, and I heard this young fellow preaching about what he called the second birth. A year and a half ago, I would consider that all hocus pocus, but you can believe me or not. What he said, he could have been behind that little door that justice said to San Jacinto that night, saying to the recording angel, "You hear that fellow? There ain't an ounce of blood or a drop of bone in him, but what's new, man?"
You think it has been all my fault, the failure we've made of our lives?
It hasn't been a failure. It's been our life by all part of it, but it's been all right.
All right! Oh, how can you say that? All right!
Some of it has been wrong, but it's been right. Most people can't say that. I know, but we can because our eyes met, they burned away all that was bad in our meeting, and left only the fact that we had met. Pure good, pure joy, a fortune of it. Yes, a fortune of it for both of us.
If only you had heard my cry to you, to cleanse yourself and me through suffering and sacrifice before we dared begin to live. But you wouldn't see the need. If you could have felt for yourself what I felt for you, if you could have said, the wages of sin is death, and cleanse yourself through the suffering of death. But instead, what you had done had fallen off from you like any daily trifle.
Ruth, it's these fellows who are fooling you. It's they who keep you trapped on the wages of sin and all that rubbish. What have we to do with sacrificing and pain? That may be the law for them, and I've tried hard to see it as our law, but it isn't. Our law is joy and selfishness. The curve of your shoulder and the light of your hair as you stand there says it plain as preaching. Does it gall you the way we came together? You asked me that night what brought me, and I told you the sun and the whiskey and the devil, and now I tell you I am thankful on my knees for all three of them. Does it rankle in your mind that I took you when I could get you by main strength of fraud? I guess most good women are taken whether they know it or not. Don't you want to be bought? I guess every woman is bought in one good coin or another, whether they know it or not. And for you, I've not only paid with that trumpery chain, but with the heart in my breast. That is one thing you can't throw back at me. The man you've made of me, the life and the meaning of life you've given me. If you can't see it in my way, give me another chance to live it out in yours. During the 6 months I've been east.
6 months? Mother said a week.
Your sister's-in-law's telegram was forwarded to me here. I kind of think it brought me, but I came east on the next train after yours. I know it's a rather low-lived thing to do, snooping around and bribing your servants for dues. Oh, if I only know how that would have hurt you. That was not what I came for. You asked me to suffer, and I have suffered, God knows. You asked me to pay for my sins, and I have. What would the mind do with it? Why? There is no need for us to suffer, okay? What we have is joy and selfishness. I understand that that may be your sin, but our sin is not that. Does it gall you how we are? Little mother, why do we have to worry about the past or the present when we've got the future in Him? I know what you're saying to yourself, and by all means, you're probably right. The wrong is wrong from the moment it happens to the crack of doom. And all the angels in heaven working overtime can't move or change it by a hair. That seems to be the law. I've learned it hard, but I guess I've learned it. Done is done, and lost is lost, and smashed to hell is smashed to hell. We fuss and potter and patch up. You might as well try to beat down the Rockies with a rabbit's heartbeat. You fought hard for me. God bless you for it, but it's been a losing game from the start. You belong here, and I belong out there. Beyond the Rockies. Beyond the Great Divide.
Wait! Tell me that you know that if I could have been your wife without bitterness and without suffering, I would have done it.
I guess you would have.
And tell me that you know that even though I tore down with bleeding fingers the life you built for us, I only did it because I loved you.
How so?
Oh, I wouldn't wonder that you would ask. Any other woman would have gone straight to her goal, and you may have found such a one, but instead you found me. A woman whose ears rang night and day with the cry of an angry heaven, cleanse yourselves! And I went about it the only way I knew how. The only way my fathers knew. Through bitterness, through self-torture, and trying blindly to pierce your careless heart with pain. And all the while you... Oh, as I lay there and listened to you, I realized that you had risen in an hour to a wholly new existence. You had taken the present and future and filled it with brightness, and you had taken the past and made all of it something worth living for. You have taken the good in our lives and grown strong, and I have taken the evil and grown weak until death. Teach me to live as you do.
Teach you to live as I do?
And teach him.
You mean make a kind of happy life for the little rooster?
And us. And us.
benevolent uncle was, of course, Ghent, who made an anonymous deal with Mrs. Jordan to make up for the trouble he had caused the family. And conveniently, he was the person who bought the ranch and now wants to return it to Philip, so that Philip can fulfill his vision of a prosperous future that Ghent's actions destroyed in Act 1. Unable to completely shake its melodramatic roots, where good is rewarded, evil is punished, and ne'er-do-well finds his way back to respectability, The Great Divide is still an important American drama, sort of a beta test for the dawning age of American realism. The playwright, William Vaughn Moody, died of a brain tumor at the age of 41. One has to wonder how his writing may have developed in later years. As Alex Rowe noted,
colloquial in its speech and critical of both Eastern establishment and conventional mores, the play broke with the contemporary trend of drawing room dramas of the middle and upper class life, consciously indicting the very way of life they have affirmed. Moody anticipated Eugene O'Neill in these innovations and his exploration of psychological foiling.
here in the middle of the mitten, far from Chicago or Detroit, or even farther from New York or LA, it's easy to believe that our little town only has an agrarian and manufacturing history. But we can be proud of our artistic heritage. From Alma native Dan Goggin, the creator of the Nonsense musicals, to Pulitzer Prize-winning composer Kevin Putz, who grew up here, to the Gratiot County Players, the Alma Symphony, and too many other art organizations to mention. Alma has a proud artistic history, and much of it started right here in the Wright Opera House. I now welcome back Dr. Peterson to give the closing word.
Wow, that was terrific, wasn't it? I hope everyone, yes, let's give another round of applause. You don't have too many, right? I hope everyone felt momentarily transported back to the world of theater at the outset of the 20th century and could see how performances like this would have brought something into the community, helping people to be connected, helping people to be part of the broader changes across the nation. I want to thank everyone tonight who made this all possible, including Alma College's facilities department, who built this stage very much from scratch, the college's IT department, who helped to arrange the streaming, and of course, and most importantly, the amazing students of Alpha Psi Omega who helped this to all happen tonight. Without whose performance, energy, and creativity, none of this would be possible. Of course, also thank you to the Michigan Humanities Council, whose generous funding makes all of this possible as well. And a special thanks to the other members of the Project Planning Committee, Tim Rapp and Dr. Cheryl Wilson, without whom none of this would have happened. And finally, thank you to all of you for spending your Friday night with us. If you enjoyed the show, there will be a third event on December 2nd, which will focus on silent film, and that it will feature live accompaniment. Tickets are still available for that online. In addition, a group of my history students have prepared a podcast dealing with the history of Alma College. You can find that on Spotify by searching for 3 Nights at the Opera House. Finally, have a wonderful evening, everyone, and a great trip home. But before you leave, let's give one last round of applause to all the performers.